Hi everybody, Mr. Owens here. I'm going to be going over subtracting integers now. So this is even a little more complicated than when we're adding integers. So again, be patient with yourself. You're not going to learn this the first time you see it or the first time you try it, okay? You're going to need a lot of practice. And this video is just to help you understand what you're doing and to give you a couple of different strategies, okay? So for the first one, we'll start nice and easy with a kindergarten first grade problem, 5 minus 3. So again, we're going to be representing plus signs with plus and minus signs with minus. So remember, 5 is positive 5, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positives. And now we're not adding in 3 negatives. Here we're subtracting, so what we're doing is we're taking away. So take away. So this says 5. I'm going to translate this. 5 take away 3 positives, okay? Take away 3 positives. So I'm going to take those away. So take away 1, 2, and 3. Then you ask yourself, what is left over? So you have 2 positives left over. So our answer is 2. All right? So our answer is 2. Okay, so let's try another one. So here we have negative 5 minus 3. So we start with 5 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minus signs. So this is like 5 negatives, take away 3 positives, okay? So we have 5 negatives and we need to take away 3 positives. But wait a second, there are no positives in this entire box, right? There are no positives here. So the question I always ask my students at this point is, how do you add something in? How do we add positives in without changing the value of the problem? We can't just put 3 positives in because that changes the value of this. This is negative 5. We need to add things in without changing the value. So I always ask my students, okay, what number has no value? And that answer is 0. So we're going to add 0 pairs. So remember, 0 pairs are plus and a minus. So I'm going to add 3 of them. You notice that this number is still, we have negative 1. These are all negative 1, right? So we have negative 1, 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and plus 0, 0, and 0. So the value hasn't changed. This number is still negative 5. But we've added in 0 pairs, so we have enough positives to take away. So we're taking away 3 positives, right? So we're going to take away 1, 2, and 3. And we ask ourselves, what's left over? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negatives. We have 8 negatives left over, right? So that means our answer is negative 8. That one is really tricky. So remember, adding in those 0 pairs is how you can add in the positives or add in something you're missing without changing the value, all right? Let's try this one. Let's try another one. So here we have 5 minus negative 3. So we have 5 positives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so this is like 5 positives, take away 3 negatives. Okay, are there any negatives here to take away? The answer is no, right? So we need to add in 3 0 pairs. Now we have the negatives to take away. We can take them away. We're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 positives. 8 positives left over. So our answer is positive 8. Right? And finally, our last one. We start off with 5 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is like negative 5, take away 3 negatives. Okay, so are there 3 negatives here to take away? Yes, so we can just go 1, 2, 3, and we're left with positive 2. There are 2 positives left over. Okay, so this is a little trickier because you have to add in those 0 pairs. It gets a little tricky. So let's think about it now with the number line. So we'll start with an easy one, and once again, same thing as before, right? So it's with adding, right? So start with first number. So you start at the first number, and then your second thing is that subtracting is kind of like the opposite of. So subtract equals opposite. So if this is 5 opposite of positive 3, so you're going to move in the opposite direction. So we start off at 5, right? And this number, you can say, is positive 3. And we're going the opposite of that. So we're going to go to the left, right? 1, 2, 3. So subtraction is getting smaller, right? So we're going to the left by 3. So we end up at 2. So you know that 5 minus 3 equals 2. All right, next we're going to start off with -5 minus 3. So we're going to start at our first number of -5. Minus 3, normal subtraction. We know that normal subtraction equals smaller. You get smaller. Normal subtraction, like normal subtraction. What you learned in kindergarten or first grade. So you go to the left by 3. Oops, it's an ugly 3, sorry. 1, 2, 3. We end up at -8. So our answer is -8. Okay? Now we're getting into kind of the opposite of normal subtraction. So we're starting at 5, start at our first number, and then this is like move the opposite of -3. So what's the opposite of -3 is +3. So we're actually going to move to the right by 3. So minus -3 equals +3. So you go 1, 2, 3. You end up at +8. So you can think of this subtraction sign as opposite. So it's like you move the opposite direction of -3. This one, we're going to start at -5, our first number, and we're going the opposite again of -3, right? So the opposite of -3 equals +3. So we're going to move minus a -3 is the same as going up by 3. It doesn't mean we're going to have a positive answer. 2, 3, but you just move to the right. You move that direction, so you end at -2. So that's our answer. All right, so once again, this is really complicated. I expect you to watch this video several times to figure it out, but please be patient with yourself. Please keep trying this, and please watch the Edgenuity video.